What is going on, people? It is your boy Temp, and I am going to show you how I edited this commercial for Saranac green tea spiked seltzer. But first, let's take a look at how it came out. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that ad, and now we're gonna get into how I put this commercial together. First and foremost, I was not sponsored or paid by Saranac to do this commercial. I actually just went into Target with the goal of finding a random product that I've never heard of and just shooting a commercial, and this kind of caught my eye. Green tea spiked seltzer seemed interesting to me, so I picked it up and I brought it home. I also picked up a few other things that I thought would work well for the commercial, and this is what I came up with. As you can see, even though it is a short clip, there's a lot going on here, so I'm going to take you step by step, talk about how I got the shots, a little bit about the editing. So this first shot is just the label up close and personal. So let's take a look at all the elements that I have for that first shot. This is actually a yellow background. For some reason, it just comes out green on camera when I put the can next to it. I don't know why. It feels like it gives me like a green tea vibe. I don't know why. It's weird, but it is what it is. So I have the can here, I have the yellow backdrop, and I have a drop shadow on both sides. So I'm gonna check those off. And this just adds a bit of dimension, gives it a bit more depth. It pops off the screen a little bit. And then I have these three different bubble overlays that I found. Some of them I found online, some of them I found on Storyblocks, but I just found what worked best for me. So our next shot is we have this transition, which is like a liquefied transition. I don't remember where I got it from, but it's a liquefied transition into a nice shot of, you know, just pouring the green tea seltzer into a cup. I actually bought that cup the same day that I bought the seltzer because it felt like it would work well for the commercial, and it did. So nothing too crazy about this shot. It's just, you know, me pouring the product, and I have this bubble overlay here. So next we have this shot of the raspberries close up in the green tea. This is actually composed of two shots because the seltzer is actually just plain seltzer, and then I added the same yellow backdrop from before. I added that underneath this shot, and then I just blended the two shots together. I picked the hard light for the blend mode. Don't ask me why, it just looked the best to me. So the way I got this shot, I actually bought a see-through pitcher, a plastic pitcher from Target. I see a lot of people doing these shots with fish tanks. I'm not buying a fish tank. The pitcher seemed like it was a good enough size, and it was like a plastic acrylic, so it was nice and see-through. Just had to figure out how to block it properly so that I didn't get any light reflections on the front, and that's how I got this super dope close-up shot of the raspberries. So just plain regular seltzer water, dropping the raspberries in, and then I, you know, stirred it up a little bit. I poured some water in there to make them kind of dance around a little bit, and then I picked the best shot that I thought worked well. So going into the next shot, so we have like a shot tilting down of all the different flavors. So we have the mango, we have the lemon, and we have the raspberry. So essentially what I did with this shot is I just did 3 separate takes with 3 different backdrops of just my camera tilting down and capturing the front of the can. And then in post, what I did was, let me just lift this off the timeline real quick. I extended it a little bit, just like that. Let me just zoom in a little bit here. And what I did was I came to whatever clip was on top, came down to the opacity, and I dropped it down. So that way you can see how the label, this label right here, is lined up. So I just got my shots and I lined it up, and then brought this back down, and I just kept doing that for all of these shots. So I have this bubble overlay on top, and this is actually not any of the previous bubbles that I used. Remember I talked about the shot with the clean seltzer with the raspberries in it? This is actually, oh, it looks weird with the mask on, let me take the mask off. So this is actually a close-up shot of just the seltzer when I poured it before I put the raspberries in. And I thought it looked cool and it might look nice for an overlay, so I decided to use it for the overlay on this shot. Now, the reason why I have the mask on, I don't want anything to distract from the label. I want it to be seen clean, clear, and crisp at all times. So I just keyframed the mask so that it moves with the can, and then that goes into the next shot, which is my favorite shot of the whole thing, which is the can spinning and transitioning into the next flavor. You know what I love about shooting video is that you can come up with a game plan, but sometimes you just come up with an idea just the day of. Like, I didn't plan this shot at all. I had no idea. I was just getting some, you know, spinning shots of the bottles, and I thought, hey, it would be cool if the bottle kind of spun and then did like a kind of wipe and then kind of transition into the next flavor. So how I got this was I had the can on the turntable and then I let it spin, and as you can see here, there's a speed ramp. It goes from 100 and it goes straight into 2000%, which is pretty fast. And it looks a lot faster because I actually put a motion blur on top of the can, because when the can is spinning and you don't see any motion, it looks kind of weird. So you have to add motion blur whenever things are in motion. Makes sense, motion blur. So I did that, and I keyframed the can to go from the right of the screen to the left of the screen. And then when it got here, let me see if I can pull up the opacity. 1 second. So here's the opacity, and as you can see, the opacity, I keyframed it to go down. As soon as the can got into position, it's still spinning, and the can underneath it is spinning at the same time. As you can see here, it's spinning at the same rate. And then this shot, the top one, just fades gradually until you get the next shot. And then I did the same thing with this, put motion blur, keyframed it to the side, and now we have the third flavor. I added one of the bubble overlays. I can't remember which one this is. It might be mine, it might be the one from Storyblocks, but I felt like it gave the background a little bit of depth. You know, with the plain color, I felt like it was missing something. So same thing with the text. The text is actually disappearing. I wanted it to give the same effect as the background, like how the can is moving and the background is changing. I wanted the text to change too. So pretty much I just keyframed the crop to go along with the can. And same thing, this mask that I have on right now, it's doing the same thing that all the other masks were doing before, making sure that the front of the label is not hit with any bubbles so that it can be seen clean, crisp, and clear. So we have those shots, and then that goes into the final shot, which is the hero shot. Super simple. Also the first shot that I did, I just have all three lined up, and then I keyframed the zoom in and then the stop. So I have the cans looking very, you know, moist, let's say. Some people hate that word, but the cans are looking, they have condensation on them. You know, they look like they just got pulled out of a cooler. But I shot this pretty much right after I bought it. So, and they were lukewarm and nowhere near cold. So how I got this condensation effect was I actually put some glycerin and some water in a spray bottle, and I sprayed the cans with the mixture. So water works fine, but sometimes water doesn't bead as well and you don't get as much condensation. Glycerin is a bit thicker and it stays on the bottle for longer, and also you don't have to worry about the bottle being cold. You could just spray it and do your thing. So I just sprayed it a couple times. So that's pretty much it as far as the editing is concerned. Now if you go down here, you can see I have the music muted right now, but I have all these sound effects. Sound effects are really, really important. I cannot stress that enough. Audio is half the battle. You're seeing things. Yes, it's a video commercial, but you're also listening at the same time. So you want to add things to bring that realism, like to make it feel like that person is actually there. So I added a lot of effects. You see the soda can fizz. I have some whooshes, some underwater sounds, just random things that I added. I even added like some ice cracking at the end. Even though there's no ice, I just felt like it added something. So I'm going to show you guys what the video looks like and what the video sounds like without the music, so you can get a feel for how it adds to the production of your video. And that is it for this video. If you guys enjoyed this tutorial, please be sure to like, subscribe, share, do all that good stuff. If you want me to do more tutorials, or if you want me to do a tutorial on something specific, let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you guys on the next one.